Hello and welcome. I am Exolite and this is my channel. Today I have with me Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Chaser.
How are you, Rob?
Living the dream.
Are you living the dream?
I am absolutely.
Guess where I'm going this week, Rob?
Ooh, I don't know. Where are you going?
I'm going to go see Baby Exolite.
Baby Exit Light.
Yeah,
Nice one.
I know. I'm going for his first birthday.
Woo!
It's also, by the way, 2 days before that, my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, dear Tracy. Happy birthday to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, what is our subject today, Rob?
Missing children.
Yes.
Yes, we're visiting that subject again, and it still amazes me to this
hmm
day. How many was it four
Every
minutes?
40 seconds.
Every 40 seconds, a child goes missing in America. That is astronomical.
Yeah, we're very worried here about, and he's there too, of course, about the COVID-19 virus. And in comparison to a child going missing every 40 seconds, you'd think that that would be on the news day in, day out, every single day. It would feel like we should be on lockdown. It happens so often. Like, just don't let your kids go outside. It's really scary, actually, as parents.
Yeah,
Think of how often that happens. You know, you never know how many like near misses could be anybody at any time whose family is struck by something like this.
well, it's like what you said when we did it last time. If you were going into a store every day and going and then not coming out,
hmm
something would be done
Yes, if every 40 seconds a child went into a grocery store
and didn't come
and
out.
didn't come out, yeah, it would be on the news every single day. People would stop going to grocery stores. It would, it, it would be bombarded with it, rightfully so.
Yeah,
But it's just, I don't know. And also, lots of times you just hear about it locally. Like, if there's a child missing in your city, your state will probably do news coverage of it and everything, but other states might not. So if the child is kidnapped and taken to another state, people see him, they probably don't even know.
yeah.
That's what's scary.
I mean, what scared me was the fact the research. When I think we looked at the same research when went from state to state and how many children have gone missing from state to state.
hmm
Just,
Yeah,
just.
yeah, we're gonna do that. The top 15 states where children go missing.
Mm,
And I know that you don't like it when I do this because you used to be a lol trolley. What do you call it?
I don't
Lolly
know.
driver?
Oh, lorry.
Lorry, yeah.
I don't like how.
Lorry driver.
Just
But
say lorry. Just say lorry.
Lorry. That's
Shut,
how I
shut.
say Lori. Oh
Yeah.
God, we're gonna have another one of those. This we getting dueling words. Lori. That's good.
That's probably about as good as it's going to get.
It is. It's not gonna get better than that. My point being, I told you I watched this documentary about the New York serial killer who is, they figure, has traveled all over the East Coast because he's probably a truck driver, and that they interviewed all these truck drivers that said that a lot of them know that this happens, and every every truck going from the East Coast to the West Coast and down through the South and everything. They meet in Oklahoma City where they separate and divide, and that it's oftentimes a trade-off spot if you've kidnapped somebody. So they can trade off in places like this, and somebody from Florida will end up in Oregon, and nobody knows. Like I said earlier, because of the lack of national coverage. That's often the case. Sometimes you get national coverage for a missing child case. There are times, but relatively speaking to the number of children who go missing, 40 every hour. Was that it? 40 every hour? Yeah. We don't, that's all there'd be on TV.
Well, you've heard of the Yorkshire Ripper, haven't you?
Yeah.
The Yorkshire Ripper was a truck driver, a lorry driver, or whatever, driving
Drove a vehicle.
He was a driver of a truck driver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's why they found it so difficult to catch him, because he was always on the move.
That's what they had thought about the Green River Killer, was that he might be a truck driver. Because that's why maybe he would pull into these places where there would be prostitutes, pick one up, drive them to somewhere else, and they'd never be seen again.
Ooh.
Anyway, I'm not saying all truck drivers are kidnappers. I'm saying that if it could be that a lot of kidnappers are truck drivers. I mean,
don't generalize.
Don't write me letters, okay?
We're not generalizing here.
No, but it's perfect. I mean, really, it's ideal. There's certain jobs that are ideal, like jobs where people are completely trusted by the public, right? Like firemen, police officers, nurses, people, medical outfits, those kind of things, where people automatically, you just trust them,
Yeah.
And then there's people who just travel for a living, and they're in one state one day and 4 states over the next. So
it could be people that work on the railways, and
yeah, those too, right?
Yeah.
There was a serial killer who was, oh man, it was within the last 20 years, probably more. I mean, less, that was traveling on the railways and killing people and getting back on the train, and not like a commuter train, but
Yeah.
goods. I don't know what am I trying to say? Like, where they have grain and products for stores and whatnot. Get back on one of those, travel to a completely different state, and took him a long time to find the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, as always, we're starting off so cheerfully. Well, this is one of those topics that is going to be, if you don't have the stomach for it, you might want to just pass. But hopefully, because we have some ones that are within the last 10 years, even if they're earlier, if you look up the names, a lot of them have age progression photos, and maybe we can help do some good. I just don't think you can have too many people looking for a lost child or a kidnapped child.
That's very true.
Before we begin, if you would please give this video a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. If you are not subscribed and you would like to be, that's right, smash it.
Smash it.
If you would like to be subscribed, please go ahead and smash that button as well. And if you'd like to be notified when my content goes live, go ahead and click that bell and you'll be notified.
Yay.
Also, if you are on a laptop or a PC, on my front page is a link that YouTube has so graciously given me, because they demonetize so much of my content. I wonder why. And if you'd like to donate to this channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Any amount would be lovely. You can go to my PayPal link, and I will put the PayPal link below and pin it in the comments. And the good news is that if we get enough money, Rob's going to fly over here. We're going to take a road trip through New England and go to all the scary things and just imagine how many times I can embarrass myself.
I'm going to fly into Denver Airport, so you may never see me again.
Denver Airport's the safest place in the world to be. After you're done flying to Denver Airport, we'll just go stay there. We won't even go anywhere. We'll just stay there because it's a weird place. You know, before we moved to where we move now, my husband had the opportunity for a job in Denver, and I was so excited because of the airport. Because I was like, oh man, finally I'll get to take a camper, camp outside, be the first one there when shit hits the fan. That's another reason why I'm not getting monetized, I think.
Why?
Because of my mouth. Stuff hits the fan.
Yeah. You've already said it now, so it doesn't really make any difference.
I know. From now on, I'll do much better. Probably not. All right, so let's get started here. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so 8 missing cases that shocked the world, and that still remain unsolved. So we're gonna start off with Sarah Kinslow. Sarah Kinslow was missing or abducted, whatever what happened. Okay, cut. Let's start this over. Sarah Kinslow, part 2.
Do you want me to do Sarah Kinslow?
Well, okay.
You are. I'm looking at it now.
Well, yes, you can. I have some extra information about Sarah too. If you'd like to do the basic information, then I can do the extra.
Okay. It was 2001 when the tragedy struck the Kinslow family. In May, 14-year-old Sarah Kinslow was dropped off at her school in Texas. Oh,
yes.
I didn't realize it was Texas.
Yes, it is.
Little did her family know it would be the last time they'd see her. According to her friends, Sarah was planning a school skip. Was planning to skip school that day, but their plans never pushed through, as they did not see Sarah either. So basically, she was planning on not going to school that day. But right. It's funny that not funny, but do you remember me telling you? Us talking about my daughter's going to school and people watching for school buses and watching the routine of the children. Maybe that's what happened here. Maybe someone was actually watching and seeing what her routine was. And when she broke routine by trying to skip school, or planning to skip school, then that was a perfect opportunity because children are at school, 5-6 hours a day, aren't they?
Oh, well, yeah, they're at school for what? Yeah, from 7 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
So if you're going to skip school, that gives someone a 7-hour head start.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's what we're talking about. Is that there are certain things children do that are routine, that set it up to be a bad situation in regards to being able to abduct somebody. If somebody is set on a certain child, they know their school routine. They know what time they get on and off the bus. especially if they have to get off the bus and walk home, which was the case in my case when growing up. When I was little, I had to walk home from the school bus, and it's a perfect opportunity. Or like we were talking about, youth group, and how a lot of
Yeah.
the kids that your daughter knows walk to the youth group,
Mm.
every Wednesday. And if somebody is so inclined, they can see who walks, where they walk, what time they walk, every Wednesday. And
Yeah.
that's in the United States, that is a scenario that happens every Wednesday, because that's apparently in everywhere. Youth group day is Wednesdays, and it just sets it up for um, something bad to happen, which is scary.
Yeah. Mm. Well, I've just read the next little bit here, and
Okay.
it was later found out that at the time of her disappearance, Sarah was in a relationship with a man 4 years her senior, so that would have made him about 18.
Yes, I'm
Um,
going to talk about him in a little while.
he was arrested a week after Sarah vanished and charged with the sexual assault of a child. He then told police
There
that
you go.
he.
The list of no words you can't use.
I've done it again.
We'll add that one to it. Those two.
Gosh.
Sorry, I got to give that list to you.
Yes, you have to give that list to me quite quickly. Maybe you can
Oh,
work on it on your week away.
maybe I can.
Right, he told police that he and Sarah thought about eloping, although he asserted they were never serious about it.
I'm sorry, but if you're talking about eloping to a 14-year-old girl, she thinks you're serious about it.
Well, yeah, I would have thought that is true.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at a picture. She does look quite old. She does look older than 14, but
Yeah.
um, although it was clear that Sarah didn't take her purse and any set of clothes with her, the circumstances of the case led the police to believe that the teen ran on her own. Yeah, it has been 17 years since the girl disappeared, but until now, nobody can tell exactly what happened to Sarah. And I'll hand the baton over to you, and you can fill us in with all your details, please.
Okay. By the way, if somebody's going to run away, they don't usually not take their purse and clothing with them.
Close, yeah.
So, um, her mother believes that Sarah was taken. She believes that she's still alive. She doesn't believe that anything happened to her. Um, that's her gut feeling as a mother. As you said, she was last seen by her parents on May 1st, 2001, in her hometown of Greenville, Texas. They last saw her about 7:20 in the morning. It was not until after the school day that they were notified by the school that her daughter had not been in class that day. She had not attended any classes. I'm not sure I understand. There's my watch, throwing her opinion around. The thing is that I know, I think that that's changed since then, because I know people whose children they haven't called the school to tell them they're not going to be there, and they've gotten a call right away from the
Yeah,
school saying,
they do that
yeah,
with our girls.
your child isn't here, which I think is, uh, if that if it's changed because of circumstances like this, I think that's great. Well, either way, I'm glad they do. When her mother spoke to her friends, they said that they were supposed to skip school that day and meet up at East Mount Cemetery, which
Oh,
completely sounds like me and my friends when I was that age. And when the mother found that out, she called the police, told them she was missing. The police took an article of her clothing from her home. They brought a tracking dog with them. The dog was able to get her scent from where she'd gotten out of her father's car that morning at 7:20. Then the dog followed the scent around the school and to a location about 2 blocks away where it disappeared in the middle of the street. We've done enough missing person cases to know that police believe when a dog loses a scent in the middle of a street that the person was probably picked up by a car.
Yeah.
During the course of the investigation, a teen witness told police that she thought that she saw Sarah Kinslow getting into a light blue truck driven by a white male at the location where the scent trail had ended. The case took a twist on May 7th when Sarah Kinslow's boyfriend, who was 18-year-old Quinlan resident Curtis Wayne Bell, was arrested for aggravated assault of a child. Bell, according to the police, was one of the individuals that she was supposed to skip school with that day. He was freed on $50,000 bond. Her mother said that she was aware that she had been seeing this 18-year-old, but said she did not approve of the relationship and she did not allow her daughter to be alone with him. In a diary found after she went missing, her daughter wrote that she loved him and that her desire was for them to run away and be together. So she was taking the elopement talk seriously. Her mother said that her daughter had never run away before and she was unprepared to be gone for an extended period of time. When she went to school that day, she didn't take any purse, any clothing, any personal belongings. So that's one of the reasons why she believes that she's still alive. She's still out there. Somebody must have abducted her, but, and I hope that that's true. In most cases, when somebody's abducted, that's generally sometimes not the case. But if she went with somebody she knew, and that would be a different story. In the weeks that followed, police received tips that the missing teen had been seen in several different locations, including a Greenville gas station, where the clerk claimed to recognize her from her missing persons flyer. This time, the police were able to see surveillance footage from the gas station, and she is seen on that video several days later with Bell. What's his first name? Curtis?
Curtis, yeah.
And she is seen on there with Curtis. He denied at first that it was her with him. He said that, yeah, he was there, but it wasn't her. And then he said eventually that it wasn't him at all. It wasn't him in the video.
Sorry.
I know. So that would mean that at least for a few days after she had gone missing, she had been with him and had gone to a gas station. Because he did admit that it was him at first. It was him. I don't know if it was him. Allegedly.
Yeah.
The last sighting of Sarah Kinslow, although that can't be confirmed, was supposedly on Christmas of 2001. The mom said that her neighbors saw Sarah in a car in Quinlan and that they were positive that it was her. She gave the authorities the vehicle's license plate number. They traced it to another town. The police questioned a man there, and he denied knowing Sarah, so the case fizzled out. I don't understand how it fizzles out when Curtis is seen on tape with what police believe is that girl. It is her. Anyway, in July of 2019, Curtis Bell did plead guilty to a charge of that type of assault of a child. He was sentenced to 60 days in jail and 10 years of deferred education probation. So that means if in the 10 years, if he breaks his parole violation or whatever, then he'll get sentenced to the 10 years. There's actually a friend of our family who had something similar. Um, and he did break his parole and ended up getting his full sentence of 18 years. Yeah.
Do you know what I don't understand? Sorry, Chase, to interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
You said that Mum knew.
Yeah.
That she was knocking about with this 18-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't approve, which is fine, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But why didn't she do something about it? Why didn't she go to the police? Why didn't she do something? It's okay to disapprove.
I don't know.
It's okay to disapprove, but if you don't do anything about it, and I know if it was one of my daughters, I would definitely be doing something about it.
Right.
But do you know what I mean? But I just can't.
Yes, I know what you mean. If it was my 14-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old, I would definitely explain to him.
Yeah, in no sense.
Yeah, that he would go to jail. You come back around and you're going to go to jail. You don't.
Yeah.
No 18-year-old needs to be messing around with 14-year-old. End of story. But I don't know what she did. I can't put blame on her.
Yeah.
It wasn't how I would do it, but I know there's lots of people, lots. I have friends who started dating at that age gap, and I just can't. It just wouldn't happen for me. But I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah.
Around the 9-year anniversary of Sarah's disappearance, her parents got an anonymous note in their mailbox. The mother says it didn't say who it was from, of course, because it was anonymous. But what it did say is it told them who to speak with, and that if they did speak with that person, that they believed they would find the answers they were looking for. The woman, according to Sarah's mom, was the ex-wife of a close friend of Curtis's. She denied any knowledge of Sarah Kinslow's whereabouts. The Kinslows said that they later discovered the identity of the individual who had put the note in their mailbox. This is a quote from her. After we convinced him to talk, he said he heard our daughter had been killed and disposed of in a rock quarry that is full of water. She said she begged the police to go and look there, but nothing had been done. So, as for Bell, he was in the news again in 2014 when his probation was revoked and he was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Meanwhile, Sarah's mom, Louise, says, I think someone has done something to her. Oh, I'm sorry. She says she does not believe she's alive.
Oh.
And then there's something that's very sad. She said that they were going to have a balloon release on the day that her daughter had disappeared, on the anniversary, and they wanted it to be a celebration of her life and have people come and attend. They contacted the local newspaper, but the newspaper refused to put it in the newspaper and asked people to go. She said that the newspaper told her they won't cover things like this. And she said that she begged them to please just publish a tiny article saying that the public is invited and they won't do it, so nobody ever comes.
Oh, that's so mean.
Yeah, she says it's a daily struggle. I know it's a cold case, but I would like to see something done. I would like to have some answers. I would like to know where my daughter is. We love her and we miss her. So, Sarah, at the time she disappeared, was 5'4", 105 pounds. She had blonde hair, blue eyes. Her teeth were a little bit crooked. She has several ear piercings, a tattoo of the letter I on the inside of her ankle. She had chickenpox scar on her left temple, 2 more chickenpox scars on her left cheek. They have a Facebook page devoted to the case. And that's it.
I'm just looking at a picture of her now. I don't know. She looks older than 14, in
Well, I
my
think that's because she's
opinion.
wearing makeup.
Yeah.
I
You
think
got
the
the
picture
same
you're looking over is she's wearing a Coca-Cola shirt.
Coca-Cola shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's school picture day, so um, she wore makeup and has her hair done, and that's probably why.
Mm,
But I coached 14-year-olds in the sport that I coach, and they look like that.
yeah.
So that's Sarah Kinslow.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you have any information or believe you've seen her, then contact the FBI or the missing persons phone number, which I'm trying to find that right now. Hold on one second. I think that's in the article where to contact the missing person. Let's see. You call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678, which is 1-800-THE-LOST, or the Greenville Police Department, which is 903-457-2900.
Will you be able to put that number in the description after?
Yes, I can do that.
Just so people they've got it to hand if they do have any information.
Yes, I can absolutely do that. The next child is going to be Cherry. Is it? I really don't want to mess these names up. Mahan? Mahan? Mahan.
It's Mahan.
Mahan.
Mm, Cherry
Um,
Mahan.
yes. Leroy McKinney often drove Cherry the 50 yards from the school bus stop and Will Phillip Rhodes to their mobile home. But on February 22nd, 1985, he and his wife Janice decided to have the 8-year-old walk home, which was a decision they would forever regret. She was last seen wearing a gray coat, blue denim skirt, blue leg warmers. You could tell it was 1985. The child was wearing blue leg warmers.
Chase.
Ankle, yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. When it says mobile home, do they mean a caravan?
Yes.
It's a caravan, yeah.
Yes.
Right, or is it one of those big? I always get confused when people say mobile homes when it's American because.
It's not an RV. It's not something you drive.
Oh, right, okay.
It's we would also call it a trailer.
Trailer, right.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was just clarifying that for myself.
Yeah, they could hook it up to, like a lorry and move it from one place to the next.
Oh, dear me.
Sorry. Yes, it's just it's a trailer, a mobile home. It She was wearing and also ankle boots, earmuffs. It was very cold. It was around 4 p.m. and just a short walk from the bus to her house. And in that amount of time, she went missing. It was a snowy day, but there were no footprints seen on the ground leading to her home, prompting the police to believe that Cherry was abducted right after she got off the school bus. Her father shared that he had heard the bus pull up and leave that day. And when he noticed that Cherry was still not home a few minutes later, he drove to the stop and he didn't see his stepdaughter there. So he rushed back home and her mother called the police. There was little to no clue about how the child disappeared except for the fact that there was a unique looking van. Interviews with neighbors and children on board the bus helped the police determine that there was a van that was bright blue or green. It was a 1976 Dodge. It had been following the school bus, and it had an unusual mural painted of a skier scaling down a snow-capped mountain, which is, if you're going to kidnap somebody, it's very strange to have such a noticeable vehicle. But, and again, the routine of children taking school buses home. But the weird thing is that it was just that day. Usually he would go, the stepfather would pick her up and drive her up the driveway. It was just that day that they decided to let her walk home. So it wasn't like if the person had followed the bus every day, the routine was that the father would be there. So it would have been the next child at the next stop that they took. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such a fluke thing. I have something else about Sherry. Let me see if I can. 34 years ago, on February 22nd, 1985. This was an article done last year, so it would be 35 years ago now. 8-year-old Cherry Mahan got off the school bus in Cabot, never made it home. What? Somebody's doing their insulin. Her mother said, I just wish someone would come forth and tell me what happened. That's all I pray for all the time now. Well, last summer, so the summer of 2018, her parents received a hand letter detailing who killed her daughter, why they did it, and where her body could be found. You are being very loud.
I'm so sorry, but I've got to do it. I apologise to everybody if they can hear it. Tracy's got ears like a bat. She can hear everything.
You know, there's a microphone button you can push, right?
Is there?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's on the page, the front page of the.
Oh, the little white button.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I apologise to everybody. I'm not very technically. Oh, I can't say the word. I'm not very.
You have the best words. Anyway, last summer, her parents received a handwritten letter detailing who killed her daughter, why they did it, and where her body could be found. And then the letter was signed by someone calling themselves Pastor Justice and ended up with, I pray you find some peace after you find her body. It had been received around Cherry's birthday. She gave the letter to police, but she never heard back from the police. The news channel contacted the police, and they told the news channel that they are still working on it. They also said that another tip led them to an anonymous search of a junkyard and an old mine shaft within the last year, in which, by the way, they had not told the parents. Can you imagine that you get this letter 34 years after your child goes missing? You get this letter, you give it to the police, and they don't even bother to contact you back about it.
It's almost as when you were reading it out before. It's almost like the police don't take you seriously. I don't want to say don't care, but
it's that they don't treat the parents like they're the parents. Like, this is the most devastating thing. Please, police officers, please put yourself in the shoes of these people, because they are parents. And when you take this letter that was sent by somebody anonymously and you brush the parents off, that it does a huge amount of mental harm. I could only imagine an emotional distress that is completely unnecessary. If you would speak to the parents and help them through that. They want to know that you're doing something. If you don't contact them, then as far as they know, you're not doing anything. And then she finds out there was 2 other searches, and so it must be, I can't even imagine the pure frustration. I don't know how these parents do it. I just don't know how they keep going on. And if it's a letter and it's not real, like somebody's doing this just to be douchebag.
Oh, that's horrible.
Man, there's a special place for people like that.
Yeah, there is.
In 2014, this news station traveled to Michigan to investigate a tip that Cherry was still alive and living under another name. Police also investigated that and determined that it wasn't Cherry. McKinney believes that someone knows what happened to Cherry all those years ago, and she still just waits for answers. She says you can never move on until you forgive, and I have forgiven. She said, but I'll never forget.
Oh.
But I have forgiven. I just so horrible. Oh boy, I don't. How do you? I don't know. I just don't know. My heart goes out to parents like this. I just can't even imagine.
No.
Did you want to talk about Aji Desir?
Yeah, just give me a second to plug my thing. And I just wanted to, while I'm sorting out, I just wanted to mention to you, you know, you said about people who send letters to the police and things like that.
Yeah.
Where it's and it's not them.
Yeah.
And they're just doing it for whatever. When I was talking earlier about the Yorkshire Ripper. Somebody did that. They sent a letter to the police saying, basically mocking the police and saying that you've not caught me yet, you won't be able to catch me. And it sent the case in a completely different direction. And two other women were murdered, I think. It was two other women were murdered. And they in the end, they caught the guy whose name was Peter Sutcliffe. And he obviously went to prison for life. But eventually, they didn't stop looking for the person who had sent the letter originally. And they found him. Wow. They managed to find him. And he got locked up.
It was it the Yorkshire Ripper who had sent it, or some completely other guy? Some guy.
Some random bloke.
Oh my God! What kind of sick mind does something like that? You know, that's bad enough to send it to the police, but send it to the parents. Man, there's no special place for that person.
But anyway, sorry to digress.
No, that was fine.
This little boy looks so lovely.
I know, he's so adorable. He's so cute.
Know, so cute, yeah. Oh. Ajay Desri, is that right?
I think it's Desir.
Ajay.
I think it's Aji.
Ajay Desir. Yeah. Was playing outside his grandmother's house when he strangely disappeared.
It's Aji, but they called him Gigi as his nickname.
Aji was with other kids that day, and he had came in to eat dinner, but went back out again to play. His grandmother checked on him from time to time. 15 minutes after she last saw the boy from the window, Aji's grandma took a peek again, and the little boy was gone. The young boy was gone. What worries the family more is the fact that the boy has some developmental issues. He was 6, but he had the mind of a 2-year-old. He usually gets scared and hides when he's afraid. Oh, bless him. The sight of strangers scares him, prompting them to believe that he might have hid from the searchers. It was January 2009 when he disappeared, but until now his family's still hoping the boy will come back to them safe and sound. Oh, bless him.
Here's some more about Aji. He lived in Immokalee, Florida, near the Florida Everglades. His grandmother was babysitting him while his mother and stepfather were at work. They lived in a complex where there was only one way in and one way out. So the parents in the complex felt safe letting their children play outside. He was in his front yard. The other kids were at his house in the front yard. So she felt safe allowing that to happen. The thing is that they were Haitian, and in the Haitian community, they're more free range with their kids, as we would call it. They're not helicopter parents. Even though he had the mental capacity that he did, he was used to playing with these children. The other children had the mental capacity of 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, whatever. And so she felt like that it was a trusting situation for him to be there. That they, wouldn't let something happen to him. They would come tell her if he would wander off. He was mostly nonverbal, although he did understand Haitian Creole, but he could not say his own name. He did speak a few English words, and
What
he
is
did what?
what is Haitian Creole? What kind of language is that?
Well, they were from Haiti, so
Oh, right, okay.
it French,
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 right.
Spanish. That I'm
Yeah.
I'm part I'm part Creole. So the whole French, Spanish, and Haitian, and it's just you know completely different and beautiful, by the way, to listen to. It the cadence is really lovely. He could shake his head yes or no to answer, so he did understand. He just couldn't really speak back. He did understand the Haitian Creole, and they lived in a Haitian Creole community. So the other children he was playing with were also um, Haitian. There was some speculation that maybe somebody had kidnapped him and sent him back to Haiti to be with his father, but um, his father didn't have him. There was some speculation that they lived very close to they were in the Florida Everglades, so there was bodies of water around this area there. So there was some speculation that there could have been an alligator involved. The thing is
Oh,
that in January, um, alligators don't really move in cold weather, so they don't feed in cold weather. So it really was not a likely story. And they think that what happened probably was that somehow he wandered off. They never, in any story, it never mentions what the other children had said happened. You know, if they saw anybody or anything, it never mentions that. So I'm assuming they didn't. And I think what happens is that he wandered off, and then he was a 2-year-old, so he was afraid of being lost, was afraid of strangers. If somebody had come towards him, he would have hidden. He wouldn't have been able to communicate where he lived, who he was, and that he possibly could have just frozen somewhere, because it does get cold in Florida, um, and that's possible that maybe he just died of exposure, but they never found him.
yes.
And again, in that circumstance, there could have been somebody who knew that he had no communication skills, had the mental capacity of a 2-year-old. And I guess if you're so inclined to want to kidnap somebody, this child would have been easily kidnapped. And he's just beautiful. He's so adorable. It's very sad. Um, Again, you know, that was 2009. If you um, have any information, contact the Center of Missing and Exploited Children. Then the next one is baby Lisa Irwin. Lisa Irwin was not even a year old. In fact, she was actually 10 months old. She's bald, with a little tiny bit of red hair. She's got the biggest blue
Blue
eyes.
eyes.
Yes. Her parents must have had her a lot of carrots because she's got that orange kind of nose that little kids can get when they eat too many carrots, babies. Um, the mother, Deborah Bradley, put her to bed in one night in 2011. Then the mother left and went and had a few drinks. When Lisa's father came home from work at 3 o'clock, he noticed that she was not in her crib. It was believed that Deborah had had too much to drink and she blacked out in in a very short amount of time, for goodness sakes. Also missing were a few working cell phones. It was only to be expected that Deborah had to face suspicions as she was the only person present at the time of the disappearance. However, she has always maintained her innocence. She and Jeremy are still hoping Lisa will come back to them alive 7 years after she strangely vanished. I have an update from.
Before you do the update, can I ask a question, please?
Mm-hmm.
It says the mother, she put the little baby to bed.
Mm-hmm.
The mother went to have a few drinks. Was that out? Was that? Did she leave the
Did
baby
she
on
leave
her
the
own?
house? Yeah, you know what? I don't know. Maybe it's the wording is strange because she said she went to have a few drinks as opposed to then she had a few drinks. So it's, but then they say she was the only one home at the time of her disappearance. So it's kind of a little confusing. I wouldn't have used the word went if someone stayed within their own house, but maybe they mean left the room and went to the living room. I'm not sure.
I've just got to chill. I can't imagine anything worse.
No. So there was an update in this last October of 2019 saying, that the case has never been solved. All the family has left are photos of the baby. That the family home had been labeled as a crime scene. An investigation into the infant's disappearance revealed that Lisa's mother was the last one to see her daughter the night before she disappeared. She was the only adult at home at the time, so I guess, or maybe she went drinking and came back and passed out. She gave a statement and said, "We just want our baby back. Please bring her home. Our 2 boys are waiting for her." They searched the fields near their home and they drained wells near their home. They searched all the neighbors' homes looking for her, and they never found her. Her parents have always said that they believe Lisa was kidnapped and might still be alive somewhere. They have released age-progressed photos of the child, and if you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. I would call the Missing Center for Missing and Exploited Children if you do have any information about baby Lisa. She's just 9 years old.
Just going to say that she's only 9 now.
Yes, so it hasn't been that long ago, and who knows? If it was somebody who kidnapped her, it was probably somebody who knew the family, or maybe the mom brought somebody home. Who knows? But sometimes people take babies because they want a baby, and I would hope that would be the case.
Yeah.
So something. I don't know.
It's like very similar to the Madeleine McCann case, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Almost identical, really, other than the fact that the McCanns are on holiday.
Yeah.
But, I can't imagine how the dad felt when he got home.
Sick, I would imagine. Sick. I don't know how he would. In all honesty, I don't know how you stay. I would. I know it's not the mother's fault that somebody decided to take her child, but for God's sakes. What if her
You've got,
child had woke up sick or hurt in the middle of the night and she's blacked out drunk? Parents, please. Parents are people. Parents are human. But you're the only one there, and apparently you have 3 children. Or maybe they had 2 more boys later. No, there's a picture of her with her 2 brothers. So they had 3 children. And
I
I don't
mean,
know, just be a parent,
if
please.
if hypothetical, just go hypothetical for a minute. If we were married and we were in the same position, and you were at work and I was supposed to stay home and look after the children,
Yeah.
and you came home from work at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm blind drunk and one of the kids is missing, how do you get past that in a relationship?
That's what I'm saying. I
You
don't know how he is still with her. How do you not blame that person? How do you, boy, oh, the fury. I don't know. Because people want to blame somebody anyway, and then there literally is someone there to blame.
yeah,
I just don't, I couldn't, I personally, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I just, I am not in that position, but I feel like I couldn't.
yeah,
I don't know, like the McCanns, for instance. Like, I would spend the rest of my life blaming myself,
yeah.
even though you watched the documentary. I mean, I I'm not gonna go get in the whole Madeline McCann thing, but still, as a parent, you would blame yourself. I'm sure the mother, I'm sure the mother has put herself through hell.
Well, that's one of the only things we've ever disagreed on.
Right, but you said you watched the end of it and you kind of
Yeah,
agreed with me.
I do to a point, but I still, I still, I don't know. Just gives me a sour taste in my mouth when I think about it.
Yeah,
Just, but anyway, we're not going to go back down the. Um,
yeah. That's a
just,
that's a
yeah,
lot of information.
yeah,
Uh, all right, so what I'm going to do here is go through the top 15 states where children go missing. Um, since 1994, when the Polly Klaas Foundation started keeping track. And what happened with Polly Klaas was Polly Klaas it was her birthday. She had a few people spend the night, kids, girls. Somebody came into her bedroom, told one of the girls who woke up, told the girl to be quiet and did not say anything, and kidnapped Polly Klaas. She was never seen again. I'm not sure if they might have found her body. I can't say for certain about that. But that's her father went on to start the Polly Klaas Foundation, which has done a lot of good to help people find missing children and counseling for parents who have missing children, and to keep this type of data um, on missing children. And it's really, we talk about how, we've talked about on here, like how something can happen to somebody that seems like the most tragic thing in the whole world, which it is, and then was that did that happen to him in the grand scheme of the world? Did that incident happen to someone who could go on to then do so much good for other missing children? I want to look real fast and see if Polly Klaas was ever found real quick. I just can't imagine her father and the child who woke up. Can you imagine the child woke up? What
yeah.
their life has been. Um, they found a torn pair of ballet leggings from her. Let's see. let's see, hold on one second. It said she was murdered. Let's see. She was abducted at gunpoint by an intruder. There was no sign of the missing girl or her abductor for 2 months, and her abduction led to the 3 strikes law that we have in this country. 2 felonies. On your 3rd felony, you're put in jail for life. They did trace a car to the man who had previous convictions for burglary, assault, and kidnapping. Hold on a second. They found one partial fingerprint on her bed, and it matched the man they found. He was convicted of murder. Let's see. During court, he jumped up in the courtroom and he accused Polly's father of molesting her. And anyway, he became an outspoken advocate for missing children. Do you want to? Are you on that page about the number of states?
No, I'm not actually. I can get it back up.
Yes. Can you do that? And I can have you do the first one.
Yeah, just give me a second.
All right.
Oh, probably in a pain. I wasn't directed at you, by the way.
It's okay. I can do it now.
You sure?
Yeah. Sorry, people. We're getting ready to go on this trip, and so we're packing, and somebody needs something. Sorry. Okay, so the 15th state is Indiana. The total of children missing since 1994 is 124. There was one case from 2015, so please remember that is very, very recent in terms of a child going missing. A little boy who is adorable. If you can find this page, Rob, then you can do a couple of these if you'd like.
Yeah, just give me a sec.
This little boy was 2-year-old King Walker. His aunt, whose name is Diamond Bynum, and his grandmother had settled down to take a nap in their home in Gary, Indiana. When his grandmother woke up, King and Diamond were gone. Both of them were missing from the house. They were nowhere to be found outside. The family believes that Bynum, who was 21 years old, Diamond, who was 21 years old, possibly took King for a walk, and that the two maybe became lost because Bynum was very developmentally disabled and not capable of taking care of the child. They don't know if they became lost somehow or if they became the subject of a kidnapping. They issued a silver alert for them. Diamond's mother stated that numerous people claimed to have seen the missing pair. They said that they were seen with a woman that was unidentified. They were seen at a White Castle restaurant and a Checkers restaurant in Chicago. The family believes that it's possible that somebody lured the pair when they were lost and has been keeping them ever since. And to this day, they have not been found. So, that's so sad.
Are we on Michigan?
What's number 14?
Michigan. Number of reported missing children since 1994 is 130. 130. Wow. One boy who vanished from his own block was 12-year-old Stephen Earl Kraft Jr. from Benton Harbor, Michigan. Michigan, where is Michigan? Is it in Chicago?
It's well, Rob, do you have a map handy?
I do. Yes, I do. Thank you, Chase. Thank you for my map. Yes, but
It's up, yeah, it's up in sort of central, not East Coast. Well, let me be able to describe it for. Let me pull up my map so I can describe it better for people who are not in the United States. Because just going on me describing it, people probably will still not know what I'm talking about. So Michigan's on the Great Lakes.
Great Lakes, yeah.
It's the state northeast of Illinois, which is where Chicago is. It's right above Indiana and Ohio. So very close to the Canadian border.
Right, yeah. Oh, that's good.
So maybe that description maybe helps people who aren't in the United States.
Yeah. Benton Harbor, Michigan. The boy was last seen playing with two dogs near his home in February 2001. The green-eyed, sandy-haired boy was wearing a Hornets jacket and parachute pants. He often played on a dead-end street or in nearby woods. On this cold evening, his family knew something was wrong when he didn't come home by curfew. Both dogs were soon found, but Stephen was never heard from again. Hundreds of his friends and family and police officers searched for days in the bitter cold, but nothing came up. And it will be cold up there, won't it?
Yes, yes.
Searchers looked through the fields and the forests and empty houses, ponds, streams were scoured, all to no avail. Although there is no physical evidence to this day, police are sure that someone knows what happened to Stephen, and he would be 29 years old this year. And there's a picture of, they've done like a mock-up of what he would look like now.
Mm-hmm. He's a handsome guy.
Yeah. He was. He would have been a good-looking young man.
I have a little addition to that. So it says that he was just going out to play in the area. His family didn't know who he was going to, so it sounds like he might have said he was going to somebody's house. There was a story about him. There was a story about him on the Dateline, which is a very popular show here that talks about murders and whatnot. That they tried to do a story on him. Stephen told his mom that he'd be home for dinner, and he didn't come home for dinner. Stephen's mom called the police in the early morning hours of the 16th, which he disappeared on the evening of February 15th. She called in the early morning hours of the 16th, which could be anywhere from like 12:01 a.m., 3 a.m., I don't know. There is the police chief gave a comment that said, our protocol was typical. We went out and took the report, and since it was someone of that young of age, we gathered information, who last saw him. Sometimes kids do run away, but he hadn't run away before. A few days later, both of their dogs came home, so it was a few days before the dogs came home. But Stephen was still nowhere to be found. The police chief added that Stephen's young age, combined with the disappearance happening nearly 20 years ago, have made it impossible to try and track him now. At the time, it was more of an area canvas, getting out and talking to people, but there had never been anything of hard evidence found. Dateline was unable to reach Stephen's family for their story or any friends, um, I guess, to interview. Nobody would speak about it. But both family and authorities continued searching for Stephen and keeping his name alive. In fact, Stephen's case was brought to Dateline's attention on Twitter by someone who lives in the area who was talking about, his disappearance, which was okay. What are you unzipping? Sorry.
I'm trying to be as quiet as I can. It's not anything, not what you think.
I'm not thinking. Anyway, a couple years back, they started a dedicated tip line for this case. They still have several tips that come in every year.
Ooh.
Despite the passage of time, the police chief says that Stephen's case remains classified as a missing person investigation, and shared some advice for today's parents. Don't take anything for granted. Time is of the essence. With technology nowadays, sometimes we can track people a lot easier. When something like this happens, it's important to know where someone was. So the parents, of course, didn't know where he had been. And then they didn't call the police until much later after he'd missed dinner. So that's why they're saying, know where the police should start looking, and call as soon as you realize that they're missing. Not that it's the parents' fault. Stephen Kraft was last known to be wearing a blue-green Charlotte Hornets baseball team jacket, a tan and white striped t-shirt, tan parachute pants, and black boots. If you have any information, they have a face page or for their Missing in America or Cold Case Spotlight, or you can also call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So that was 2001, so still only 9 years ago. Okay, let's see. I'm going to do Nevada. Oh, how many people are missing in Michigan? Since 1994, 130 people. Children. Nevada. Number of reported missing children since 1994, 150. One Reno, Nevada child who seemingly disappeared without a trace was 11-year-old Jennifer Martin. She vanished while walking back from 7-Eleven, a few hundred feet from her home in 1987. The freckle-faced girl had gone to the store. She left their trailer park about 3 p.m. She bought a soda and a candy bar. Jennifer walked out of the store and turned left, which was towards her home, and she was never seen again. Her sister says that she would never in a million years get into a vehicle with someone who she didn't know, or even someone she didn't have permission to get into a car with. She wasn't shy. She'd have no problem telling an adult off. A defrocked priest was named a suspect in this case, and the disappearance of 3 other children in 2002. Police searched the former priest's yard using cadaver-sniffing dogs, radar, and a backhoe. The only item located was a bag full of decomposed clothing. To this day, whatever happened to Jennifer Martin remains a mystery. Pennsylvania. Do you want to do? Yeah.
Number of reported missing children since 1994 is 153. It's crazy again.
Yeah.
A shy high school honours student vanishes. Her car found empty. What does honour student mean, by the way?
She
was good at school.
Yeah, she had top grades.
Right, okay. One unsolved case from Millersburg, Pennsylvania, is that of Tracy Marie I don't know how to
Crow.
say Crow. Is that Crow? Sorry.
Hmm.
Went missing in 1989. The high school honor student drove from her parents' home to his sister's trailer home
Yeah, they misspoke. It's her. I think it's her sister. It is her sister.
to visit one night at 10 p.m. Um, just trying to see how old she would have been. It doesn't
She was
say.
17 when she was last seen.
She was 17, and she
Hmm.
was still, yeah, she was just still at school. Um, so 10 p.m. to go out for a 17-year-old. That's not really that unusual, is it?
Well, I suppose if it was like a Friday or Saturday night, I wouldn't think so. During the school week, probably would have been a little bit late.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't
Anyway,
know.
sorry about that. When no one answered the door, she left coupons and a barbecue grill on the front steps and left. She never made it home that night. The next day, when her parents realised she hadn't slept at her sister's house, they called the police. Her locked car was found next day in a nearby Millersburg Square with no sign of foul play. 4 years later, items from Tracy's wallet were found along a creek bed in the area. Um, that's similar thing to what you said before. The parents just assumed that she would have stayed
Yeah.
with a sister
Yeah.
and didn't check up. All it would have took
Yeah.
was a phone call.
Yeah. Maybe they were already asleep and they woke up in the morning and
Yeah.
that's when they saw she was gone. I
Mm.
don't. Maybe. I mean, I'm assuming she probably told them she was leaving, but they just maybe they went to bed and I don't know.
In a 2006 news report, Tracy's case was described as being as active now as it has ever been. Investigators said they believe that there is a killer in the community who has not been brought to justice. The case continues to be investigated as a homicide, although Tracy has never been found. The disappearance of the teen, who was described as shy and studious, remains a mystery.
I have something more about Tracy. Um, it's an update from May of 2019. Police. It says new information triggers a search related to a woman who disappeared 30 years ago from central Pennsylvania. Police on Monday were searching an area in northern Dauphin County in relation to the disappearance of teen Tracy Crow in 1989. We are operating on the best new information and we are encouraged, said the Dauphin County District Attorney Fran Chardo. Chardo said investigators went to the location as a result of new developments in the case, and they hope to use new technology to bring closure to this case. However, Chardo declined to detail the new development or say whether the police have a suspect. The news channel reported that the search involved a property off Middle Road, and the property had ties to someone who might be connected to the disappearance. Chardo said the area is being searched by where her home had originally existed. So she lived in a trailer, and so that trailer park is now gone. But the property is next to the trailer park where the trailer park had been. Um, of course, so she was 17. She was last seen uh, and had left her stuff at 10 o'clock. Authorities long ago concluded the 90-year-old girl, about to start her senior high school, was abducted, probably by someone she knew. Although it was still considered a missing person case, state police are now treating it like a homicide investigation. I suppose because of whatever this new information is. So maybe somebody confessed, or
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so let's see. Oregon.
Yep.
The number
Let's
of
just.
missing children in Oregon since 1994 is 153. Now, this one is interesting, and I'll probably do a side story about this, and I'll tell you why in a second. This boy went missing from Crater Lake, and I've done a story of a couple of people who've gone missing from Crater Lake. I've also mentioned that um, a, a very, very, very close friend of mine died at Crater Lake. Um, it's it's a beautiful, beautiful place, but it is also dangerous. It is in the middle. The lake is, as it says, in the crater of a volcano. It's very wooded, and I mean, it is beautiful and peaceful, but they do warn you that it is also very dangerous, which is how my friend passed away. You know, Rob, the woman I told you that
Yeah.
fell. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Crater Lake is located in the Oregon's Cascade Mountains, and it has been the site of a cluster of disappearances. So I'd like to get into that a little bit more. One such case is that of 8-year-old Samuel. I want to say it's Bulky,
Yeah. Bulky.
yeah, who disappeared in 2006. So, like I said, people, it's very recent in terms of missing children. While he was camping there, the boy had mild autism. He walked away from his father at a scenic overlook, which is where my friend died, was at their scenic overlook, one of them. And he entered the forest. He was never seen again. A multiple day search ensued using canines and air support. They found nothing. The circumstances behind this disappearance and the subsequent inability of the Park Service to find him is unusual, said David Paulides, which, for those of you who follow missing 411 cases, people who have gone missing in national parks, national forests. David Paulides is what has brought that to light.
Yeah, we talked about him before, haven't we?
Yes, has obviously done a lot of work on those people and the unusual circumstances people go missing under in national parks and forests. He has mapped out clusters of disappearance in forests, national parks, which I just said. In an uncanny coincidence, 8 years prior, another 8-year-old boy, Derek Engelbertson, vanished from a nearby spot without a trace and has also never been found. So I think I'll do a follow-up story to Crater Lake's, the amount of people and children who have gone missing in Crater Lake, which I at the time I went, I didn't have any idea that that was the case, and I also didn't wander off into the forest. Thank goodness. Oddly enough, I had also gone with my very, very best friend, who has also since passed away. So it's very, have a very strange connection to Crater Lake. I think no, I don't. Do I have something about him? No, I do not have anything extra about him. So we can go on to Georgia if you like.
Georgia. This little boy looks very cheeky.
I know, he's so cute. Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
Oh dear. Sorry. The number of reported missing children since 1994 is 171.
Oh.
A boy nicknamed Munchkin and his mum have been missing, and his mom have been missing since 2002. One unsolved case involves Volusia, Georgia resident Brendan Wade, who went missing at the age of 3 in 2002. His mother, Paula Wade, also disappeared at the time. Paula's it says co-workers.
It's co-workers.
Co-workers at Sam's Club became concerned when she...
Do you know what Sam's Club is?
I have no idea.
Okay, so, you know what Walmart is, right?
Yeah, we have Walmarts here.
Okay, well, Walmarts are owned by Sam Walton, his family. Well, so Sam Walton, Sam's Club is also owned by them, and it is a massive warehouse where, like, let's say I need mayonnaise, but you go to Sam's Club and you get 22 gallons of mayonnaise.
It's like Costco.
It is identical to Costco.
Right, okay. We have Costco here as well.
Oh, yeah, my favorite places. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. So Paula's co-workers at Sam's Club became concerned when she didn't show up for work one morning. They sent someone to Paula's apartment where no one appeared to be home. However, Paula's Chevy Blazer was there with the child seat removed. That's unusual. Police became involved and questioned Paula's roommate and friend. The friend told officials the friend told officials where the bodies could be found, but only deer bones turned up at the location. Paula's husband, Staff Sergeant Lance Wade, stationed at Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina, was cleared of any involvement, although the area was searched extensively. No leads were uncovered as to the disappearance. Paula had been granted a job transfer to Sam's Club in Kissimmee. I have to apologise to people that I get all these American names wrong.
That's okay.
In Kissimmee, Florida, and her father had been planning to help her move there at the time she disappeared.
Yep. To this day, no one knows the whereabouts of Paula or Brandon. Illinois. The number of reported missing since 1994. Can we just establish it since 1994 so I don't have to?
Yeah.
Okay. 177. And this is a 6-year-old vanished into the thin air while catching fireflies. In a 36-year-old case that is every parent's nightmare. 6-year-old Joliet, Illinois residents. That is what it is. That is what it is. Joliet. I think it's Joliet. You guys, I know that is a very well-known name, and I'm a little bit brain dead, but I think it's Joliet. Resident Sarah Elizabeth Avon vanished while playing outside one summer night in 1981. The blonde-haired, brown-eyed girl was seen wearing a blue Park District t-shirt, blue jogging pants, with 4 pigtails in her hair. Sarah was outside with her 5-year-old sister Marie and some friends catching fireflies. She walked across the street to ring the doorbell of another friend, and she was never seen again. Some of these things are so, it's just chance. It's just chance. She was playing by chance. It was her who walked across the street. It's so random. If somebody, had been watching them, you wouldn't have known that she was going to walk across the street. It was just an opportunity that came to them. That's what is also so sickening, is you can do everything possible, to think you're keeping your children safe. They're in your front yard, and she walked across the street like she probably did 1,000 times. At 9 p.m., when Marie came home, but Sarah didn't, their mother, Mary, and the other neighbors started a search and soon called the police. For the next night and day, searchers went door to door and looked under bushes. Firefighters dragged a nearby quarry, coming up with nothing. Over the years, police kept searching. In 1993, a man on his deathbed told police his mentally impaired nephew had murdered Sarah. In 1981, the informant said his brother, the nephew's now deceased father, had buried the body in what was now a vacant lot to protect his son. The lot was excavated later in the year, but nothing was found. Sarah's former babysitter had once lived in a residence on the lot. Sarah's whereabouts are still unknown. She would be 43 right now. That's
sad.
What I don't understand, I really just don't understand, and we've talked about this before. If my son had murdered somebody and I found out about it, I would I would tell.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know you're concerned about your child, but they killed another,
Someone.
a 6-year-old child. 6 years old. Imagine what their family is going through. And apparently the boy or man or whatever he was that murdered her was mentally disabled. So in that case, I would tell because perhaps my child didn't even know what was right and wrong. Um, I, I just, I I know that maybe that sounds bad to be a parent who would tell on your own child, but I would have to do that. I
Yeah, I
could
think
not
I
live
would.
with myself. Couldn't go out and bury the 6-year-old and never tell anybody. And the fact that this man knew and he never told anybody. Ugh, I know. I just. Ugh. Okay. Moving on to Colorado.
Colorado. Number of missing children is 183. Unbelievable.
Wow.
An honest student disappears while waiting to start an internship. In July 2016, God, this is quite recent then.
Yeah.
Oh, 1994, sorry. Um, in July
No.
26,
Yeah, since 1984, but yeah, it's July
yeah,
2016.
yeah, I'm confusing myself.
That's okay.
Aurora, Colorado resident Lashish Lashea
Lashea. Yeah.
Stein, 16, walked out of her home at night and never returned. Her mother remains convinced there was some foul play, especially because the teen's belongings, including her cell phone charger and movie tickets, were left behind in her bedroom. No extra clothes had been taken either. Street camera footage showed Lashia walking down the street at 2:30 a.m. on the night she vanished. Her mother thinks her daughter is being held by sex traffickers, since people have claimed to have seen her in a desolate area of cheap motels where prostitution is rampant. Um, have I just said loads of words there that shouldn't?
Yeah, probably, but that's all right.
Around the time of her disappearance, the honest student had been looking at colleges with plans of becoming a nurse. She was set to start her internship at the hospital in coming months, her mother said.
Wow. Okay. As bad as missing, I think that especially, well, no, missing boys or girls. I think that that sort of trafficking is becoming so rampant these days that would be one of my very first um, thoughts. In fact, somewhere where I used to live, two 14-year-old girls went missing, and one of them, the mother found on a Craigslist page where they do, that's been known for sex trafficking, and also something called the back door, or the back page, which is about for prostituting children. Found her on there, but police still can't find her. But she knows for a fact that her child was kidnapped and used for that, and she was 14. That would make me so Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
I don't know how I could. With my daughters, especially Maya, because she goes. Both of my daughters work, but one of them works during the day and is married and has a completely different situation. Where Maya, I worry about because of situations of like the hours that she works and whatnot. I'm not going to get specific.
No.
It really, worries me. I got both of my girls these buttons they can push where it's like a alarm sound that can be heard for 2 blocks, very very loud, and pepper spray with dye in it, and the dye won't come off. So that they can spray somebody and the dye won't come off. Other people are going to see them with bright flamingo pink paint on their face. And they both will walk out to their car holding both of these objects. And I ask them all the time. I'm ridiculous about it. Do you walk with your alarm? Do you walk with your pepper spray? Yes, yes, yes. Do you walk with your keys between your fingers? So you have a relatively sharp instrument. I mean, these poor girls are going to be having to wear backpacks pretty soon with attachments sticking out because I just keep giving them more things you have to hold. But the alarm and the pepper spray can hook together. So they both do. I've even given them to my 17-year-old son because the fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter, male or female. You know, it's either one, and it's so scary, especially because I live in a state, that's so close to a border.
Yeah.
And I live right off the freeway, and both of my daughters live in an area that's close to a freeway, so it's just, I don't know, makes me worry very much these days, and I can't imagine being a mother and that's what you think happened, because oh my god, the pain just does not stop. You know. And you've got daughters. You've got 2 daughters.
I know.
You're gonna have to load them up with all kinds of stuff too.
I'm buying them a sawn-off shotgun for Christmas.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hey, my oldest daughter has a concealed weapons permit, so there's a whole lot of things you don't want to get. Not to mention that she's ferocious, like a saber-toothed tiger. So, and she's a black belt. You don't want to get near my oldest daughter. You're going to be the one begging for somebody to call the police.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to do the next one? Oh, did we say how many people had been? There was 183?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Right, where am I doing? Ohio.
Yes.
209 missing children. A fatal accident was reported almost 2 decades ago, but the body was never found. In what is called Miami Valley's greatest mystery, Kettering, Ohio. I'm saying Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Resident Erica Baker hasn't been seen since she left to walk her dog on February the 7th, 1999. The 9-year-old girl headed out around 3 p.m. wearing a pink rain jacket, blue jeans. When she later failed to return home, her grandmother called 911. Although the dog was soon found, there was no sign of Erica. A man named Christian Gabriel eventually admitted to an accident striking Erica with his vehicle, killing her. He testified he hit Erica with his white van and she darted into the busy street full of parked cars.
Wait, a busy street full of parked cars? Oh, like they were parked on the side of the street?
Yeah.
Okay.
He stated that he had buried the body. Gabriel maintained he had a known deceased.
He and a now deceased.
Sorry, I can't read this morning. A now deceased accomplice had been shoplifting that day, fueled by drugs and alcohol. That dulled his memory. As a result, he said he could not recall where he had buried Erica's body. Gabriel was convicted and had served a complete prison sentence. Sergeant Bob Green had led the Sergeant Bob Green, the lead detective on the case for decades, isn't buying that Gabriel doesn't know where the body's whereabouts. Don't tell me he was drunk. And then in details, don't tell me he was drunk. And then in detail told me the positioning of the body now. Could you read the last bit, Trace? I'm struggling here a little bit.
Yeah. Don't tell me he was drunk, and then in detail told me the positioning of her body, how he rested it in the hole he dug, how he placed her arms across her chest and covered her face. You just don't bury an individual and not know where it happens or where you've done it, Green said in an interview. Erica would be 28 years old now. Although it has been said with virtual certainty she is no longer alive, Erica remains missing.
Crazy.
Well, I imagine that because they were drunk and high, they decided they couldn't call the cops about hitting her because they would have been arrested. Because even if it was an accident, like you said, like she darted out for whatever reason, maybe she chased a dog or something. She darted out, he hit her, they call the cops. They've been shoplifting, so they were doing something illegal. They were drunk, they were high. Their mind said we can't call the police. So maybe what you should do, I mean, well, first off, there's no right answer, but leave the scene so she can be found. You stop your. Can you imagine the risk? They stopped their van, got her, put her in the van, and then took her and then buried her. They went through all that risk instead of just leaving her. Maybe she wasn't even. Maybe she was okay at the time. I agree. He does. I don't understand though. You know, the police officer says he doesn't believe that he doesn't know where the body is. But the thing is when he's giving you all this information, why wouldn't he give you where the body was? Unless what happened was not that he hit her with a car, that they kidnapped her and did something, and you would be able to tell by the body when they found it. Maybe that was it.
I find this one really difficult to deal with. I don't know why.
And they said that he served a complete sentence. Does that mean he's out of prison?
Yeah. Must be.
And what's his name again? Christian Gabriel. Out of prison after admitting to killing a child, burying her somewhere. He's out of prison, and he was living in where? Ohio. Christian Gabriel in Ohio. I would not want him to be my neighbor.
Just distrust him.
Yeah. My opinion is that that's not the true story, and the cops would know by finding her that that's not what happened, and that's why he won't tell them where she's buried.
Can't believe he's out of prison.
I can't believe he's out of prison, and he made it out of prison.
Yeah, that's very true.
Thought that was all right. I can't talk about this one anymore.
No.
Washington State, which is where I'm from. 218. Washington State is one of the states for the highest missing people in general. People go missing a lot in Washington State.
This little girl is so pretty.
Isn't she though? She really,
her
God, she's
gorgeous.
adorable. I know, right?
Little yellow beads, I think, or something.
Yeah, they look
Beautiful.
like, yeah, they're little flowers or something.
Like little daffodils, don't they?
Yeah, she's sweet.
Oh.
A toddler was reportedly taken from Target, but the story changed. One perplexing case is that of Lenora Jones from Tacoma, Washington, which is up by Seattle. She went missing in 1995 at the age of 3. I think it's Lenoria, was last seen wearing a black Barney t-shirt and turquoise pants. She had braids in her hair. The little girl was in the legal custody of her great-aunt, Berlene Williams, who also ran a daycare. On the day that Lenoria disappeared, Williams first reported it to police an hour after it happened, saying the girl disappeared inside a Target store. When the security video only showed Williams walking into the store alone, she changed the story several times. Other scenarios she provided were Lenoria was abducted from the store's parking lot and that she was kidnapped near their home. To this day, the case is still open and Lenoria has not been found. Just days prior to her disappearance, she had gone on prescription medication for ADHD, and some investigators theorize that she had overdosed on the pills. Others believe that she is still alive in an unknown location. So I'm not a psychic or a police officer, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say her great aunt Berlene Williams knows something.
Yeah.
Maybe she left her in the car in the Target parking lot. She was taken from there. This woman ran a daycare.
I know, it's just beggars belief, isn't it?
Yeah. Why? So maybe, okay, so let's say that, here's another, okay, Tracy, slow down. This is another case where I think it's possible that the grandmother did something that she knew she'd get in trouble for, so she lied. Like, maybe the girl did get into her ADHD medicine and did overdose, so the great aunt got scared and did something. Or maybe she left her in the car, because this is 1995, okay? I'm not going to lie. Back in the 80s and 70s and 60s, if your child was asleep in the car, people would leave them in the car.
Yeah.
And go into the store or go into your house. We see these accidents in the news today where children are left in a hot car and they pass away. Well, because they were, left sleeping or whatever. That was a common occurrence back in those days. My mom used to tell me all the time that if I fell asleep in the car, she would, roll down the window and go in the house and just come out and check on me every once in a while. My aunt, same thing. It's just, that's how things are done. So in 1995, remember, this was a great aunt. So she was an older woman and probably came from an era where you could leave a sleeping child in a car. So maybe that's what happened. And somebody took her. But then, which might explain why she was walking into Target, maybe seemingly calmly, if she didn't know at that point that something had happened to the little girl. You could walk into Target normally, right? If she had OD'd on medication and walked into Target knowing what had happened, I think you'd be able to tell by her actions. I'd like to see that video. What she looked like. What did she buy? How long was she there? I mean, she'd go buy a shovel. You know what I mean? Some garbage bags. That's one thing I'd like to know a little bit more information about. Or did she just leave her in the car and then knew she'd get in trouble? Panicked. Yeah. Either way, she's walking around Boy, can you imagine being that child's mother, thinking you left your child in good hands? And they diagnosed her what? How old is she? How old is she? 3. They diagnosed her with ADHD.
That's
Are
far too
you
young.
freaking kidding me? 3 years old. Oh, God. What doctor did that? All right.
New York. 223.
Wow.
Denise Hyman. It's Denise, isn't it?
Yes. It's an odd spelling, but it is Denise.
Yeah, Hyman. In a new excuse me, in a New York case that doesn't seem to have garnered much media attention, Queens resident Denise Hyman, 13, vanished after leaving for school
She's a
on
very pretty
August
little girl.
on August the 27th, 1999. Again, 1999.
Yeah.
That's popped up a couple of times, hasn't it?
Yeah.
1999. When she disappeared, the teen had brown hair with dyed blonde highlights. Her nickname was, let's just say her nickname was Pinky. She's
PJ,
P,
Jinx, and Pinky.
P
I don't even
Jinx,
know.
Pinky. She spoke English and fluent Guyanese. What's that, Guyanese?
Yeah, so she was Guyana. She was from Guyana.
Authorities
her family was from Guyana.
Yeah. Authorities had classified her as a runaway for many years, but changed her status to endangered missing. Denise was said to be involved in a gang. Denise was said to be involved in a gang and had to make a fake ID that listed her as 18. There had been reported sightings of her far from home in places like Minnesota, Canada, and Trinidad, but no one knows her whereabouts with any certainty. Whether she left by choice also still remains a mystery. She will be 32 years old now. She's very, very, very pretty girl.
Yes, she is very pretty.
Yeah.
So this seems like another child who was probably living in a community of people like who had immigrated.
Yeah.
Next is Arizona, number 4. Great. 246. Now this is interesting because I was going to do this story coming up. One troubling missing case that's hard to forget is that of Mikkel Biggs, an 11-year-old girl who vanished into thin air when waiting for the ice cream truck on her block in 1999. The hazel-eyed, blonde-haired girl heard the truck's cheerful music and waited on her bike, holding 2 quarters. She planned to buy her favorite gumball popsicle. It was getting dark, so Mikkel's mom sent her 9-year-old daughter, Kimber, outside to bring Michelle in. When Kimber went outside, all she found was a white bike with purple ribbons on the ground, its wheels still spinning. The 2 quarters were also lying on the ground. A massive, highly publicized search ensued, but no solid evidence was ever uncovered. No suspect was ever ID'd, and Mikkel remains missing today. Where was this? This was in Phoenix, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I lived in Phoenix in 1999. But I moved there after this happened. Now the thing is this was in, I believe it was from my research going to do the story. There's a couple things here. One, she had a sister who was standing out there with her at the time. And that sister realized she didn't have enough money. She ran home to get some. And when she went back, that's when the little girl was missing. Number 2, it was January, I believe, and there are not ice creams in trucks in Arizona. Contrary to popular belief, it doesn't get cold in Arizona, but when you're acclimated to the weather and it's 50 degrees, it feels cold to you. And there are not ice cream trucks year round. That's a summer thing, just like it is anywhere else in the country. Next was that there were several sex offenders in this neighborhood, and it was apparently well known that there was a sex offender who lived by the corner where this ice cream truck was supposed to be. And the police spoke to this person as a suspect, but they couldn't keep him. He had been arrested for kidnapping another child and assaulting them. And according to neighbors, he would play ice cream truck music really loudly from his home or his garage to attract children.
Oh, gosh.
So when the sister ran home to get the money, then there was just the 11-year-old girl standing on the street alone. And within seconds, like they said, her tires were spinning on her bike. It was instantaneously. So that is a little extra added information about this story. That as far as the neighbors go, they know who did it. There was an interview from actually, I think it was a post on Reddit from a boy who went to school with her and lived a couple houses down, that said, that his family had warned him from going by this house, and then other people had written that they lived in the area too, and it was well known that it was this man and that he would play ice cream truck music from his house. So there's a very painful ending to it. You think you're sending your child to the ice cream truck, and that's the last time you see them. I mean, that happens every day, 1,000 times a day in the summer, and everything's fine. If I had heard it in January, I feel like the gears in my head would have said, that's very unusual. But I don't know that I would have said, you can't go outside and go to the truck.
I mean, after listening to this podcast, you're probably never going to let your children out of the house again.
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, ice cream trucks give me the creeps in the first place.
Yeah.
They really do. Like, my children were not allowed to go to the ice cream truck by themselves, ever. They always had to take their siblings. The ice cream truck would usually go right outside my house. I would, watch out my window at the ice cream truck. I think it's because we've seen so many movies and TV shows and detective things that, about the ice cream truck and the ice cream man, that because the thing is that anybody can be an ice cream truck. Anybody. Yeah. You just buy ice cream and candy, put some music in your truck or your van. I've seen ice cream vans, and go around the neighborhood. And that's another one of the scenarios where we're just trusted. Yeah, go out to that strange guy you've never seen before, or walk up to his van. In our neighborhood, we used to have an ice cream truck where the guy would have to open the side of his truck had van doors. He would open it and then give the candy and went out to the kids. And I was like, no, ma'am, you're not going to this guy.
Yeah.
It's just such a bad setup that all parents trust, because all parents have gone to the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
I'm not going to trust anybody by the time we're done with this. Forget it.
Right, Florida. 364 cases since 1994.
Wow, my God.
I think we've actually done this young lady before, this baby.
We've done Sabrina Eisenberg, yeah. Yeah, you can do this. There's so much more information about this case that I can't dig into. They really quick. The FBI and the police bugged their house, the parents' house, listened to them. So they reported that they talked about doing cocaine. What are we going to do now? Um, but the lawyers for the parents, who also heard the tape, said that's not what was said in the tapes. The parents were reaching. They thought that the father was led out of the house to go to the police station. He said that he was, very nervous because I mean, this is a huge case. Hundreds of people outside taking pictures, and his nerves made him do that weird, smiley, giggly, like, and they caught that on camera. So he was drugged through the mud. And look at him, he's smiling, walking out, and they didn't think that they acted sad enough. Then they thought they acted too sad, and you just can't win in that case. Or if they did act sad, was there tears? The parents were they ended up getting divorced, and
Yeah.
my personal opinion in this case is that somebody took Sabrina out of her out of her bedroom and kidnapped her. Go ahead and just read the rest of what's in there.
In one particularly baffling Florida case from 1997, 5-month-old infant Sabrina Page, is it Eisenberg?
Yeah.
Vanished from her crib in the middle of the night. Her mother called 911 early next morning to say her baby was missing. A massive search ensued within a 5-mile radius of the home, bringing up nothing. The parents were heavily scrutinised for their lack of emotion, like Tracy's just said, during the public appearances. They were investigated in the disappearance and eventually prosecuted, but the case was later thrown out. The Eisenbergs were compensated $2.9 million for prosecution made in bad faith. Their home has been bugged, and investigators with no conclusive results. Colonel J.R. Byrne from the local county sheriff's office was one of the investigators involved in the case. To this day, he carries a faded photo of baby Sabrina in his pocket. Both Burton and Eisenberg believe someone who wanted a baby may have snatched Sabrina from her crib, and that she is alive today somewhere. She would be 20 years old now.
They actually had a young lady contact them when she turned 18 to tell them that she thought that she was their baby. And it did turn out that her mother had kidnapped the woman she thought was her mother had kidnapped her, but she was not Sabrina. So yeah, that case was like I said, they won the $2.9 million for being prosecuted in bad faith. They just set their sights on the parents from the get-go, and that's unfortunate. They lost a lot. They lost all that time and energy on not finding her. Yeah, it was. I hope that I'm never seen on TV during something tragic. Well, as you know, I cry once in a while. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, but I don't know if I was in a situation that totally numbed me. If I would be completely just numb, and then you're seen as not having emotion. I just can't stand it when people judge you on your emotions at the worst time of your life. And then people are like, oh, they weren't sad enough. They were too sad, and and police, when they interview somebody and they say, well, your wife was found murdered, and the husband doesn't react the way the police think he should react, then that's brought into court. And you just do not know how people are going to react. All right, sorry. Here comes another Texas one. Wait. Did we do Texas?
No, it's going in.
Number. Okay. 489 missing. And that's like I said, we're right on the border of Mexico. It's, Texas, Arizona, Colorado's not a huge leap. Florida, put them on a boat. Washington State, right across the border from Canada. Michigan, right across the border from Canada. A lot of these places are someone's easily able to just even leave the country, let alone the state. Okay, this one is Nicholas Barkley, and he's been missing 20 years from San Antonio, Texas. The number of people missing from Texas, 489 children. In a sensational case, an imposter tried to impersonate a missing teenager. Oh gosh, I think I remember this. One intriguing Texas disappearance involving an imposter was that of Nicholas Barkley, who was 13 when he vanished on his way home from a basketball court in San Antonio, Texas, in 1994. There were no leads until 3 years later when police told Nicholas's family he had been located in a shelter in France. But they made a movie about this, I believe. He had been a victim of a pedophilic ring, they said. I suppose I shouldn't have said that word out loud. A boy claiming to be Nicholas came home and lived in the house for 3 months before a private investigator outed him as a serial con artist, Frederick Borden. Now, hold on a second. He was gone for how long? 3 years. Within 3 years, the family didn't... They must have recognized... I believe they recognized that they didn't think it was him. Things were different. He didn't have like a birthmark or something. I think that's why they hired the private investigator. Prior to his disappearance, the real Nicholas was known for being troubled, and police had been called to the house to calm him down a number of times. He was 13. He had a criminal record for theft, threatening a teacher, and breaking into a convenience store. Interestingly enough, Borden, the imposter, told police the family never believed he was Nicholas. There we go. Borden believed Nicholas's older brother Jason was involved in foul play towards Nicholas. Incidentally, Jason had made an unsubstantiated call to police 3 months after the disappearance to say the boy was back and breaking into their garage. Okay, let me get that straight. 3 months after Nicholas disappeared, his older brother Jason called the police to say that he was back and breaking into their garage. No evidence was ever found that Jason, the older brother, died of a drug overdose before he could be questioned any further. Wow. Whether or not Nicholas is still alive, he has never been found. He would be 36 years old. That's a crazy case. I'm going to say it's probably the brother, don't you think? But how strange to have this guy show up and be like, I'm your son, from France.
Yeah.
People are...
You're not going to believe the next one.
Oh, what's the next one?
California.
Oh, there you go. Border state. Oh my God, look at the number.
Since 1994, there have been 4,541 cases of missing children.
Lord.
A preschooler disappears riding her bike to a friend's house 8 doors down. Based on listings on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children website, California currently has 614 missing children, a number almost 9 times the national average. One haunting unsolved case is that of Amanda Nicole Campbell, or Nikki Campbell, who vanished while riding her bike 2 days after Christmas. Oh gosh, in 1991. The 4-year-old was wearing a Santa Claus earrings, pink nylon jacket, and purple corduroy pants. Nikki left her brother and friend around 5 p.m. to ride a bicycle to another friend's house around the corner 8 doors down from her home. She never arrived and has not been seen again. Her abandoned bike was found a few blocks away later that evening. Search dogs tracked Nikki's scent to a nearby McDonald's drive-through, then east to an on-ramp for Interstate 80. Authorities believe that she had been pulled into a vehicle near her house. 2 men were named as possible suspects, including a sewage treatment plant worker, Timothy Binder, and who had been sending birthday greeting cards to young girls in the area. Although Binder was investigated in Nicky's case and other disappearances of young girls, no evidence was ever found linking him to the crimes. He sued Fairfield for defamation and received $90,000 in a settlement in 1997. To this day, Nicky's disappearance remains unsolved. She would be 30 years old now.
And again, this was 1991. And yes, 4-year-olds were allowed to ride their bike down the street. And when I was little, I was 4, my brother was 2. We were allowed with the other kids in my neighborhood to ride our bikes farther than that away from our house.
Yeah.
And yeah, nobody thought twice about it. I don't know if it's because I don't know, but now that would never cross my mind. Never, 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 never. And maybe it's because we know now because of TV shows that, talk about things like this, social media, the news, 24-hour news that talks about missing kids and whatnot, that we know better. Maybe back then they just didn't hear about stuff like this. But yeah, 4-year-olds, I just take my 2-year-old brother into the woods. Wow, that's 4,541.
Oh, shivers. Someone's walking in my grave.
So again, for some of these cases, if you know anything or think you know something, I mean, really, even if you think you know something, I'll leave the phone number for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children down below, and call, even if you think it's the smallest possible clue.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they even if you're wrong, at least you tried. So thank you for coming and listening to this.
Yeah.
And if you would please give this video a thumbs up, share it if you would, and if you'd like to be subscribed, please do that. And if you want to be notified when my content goes up, please go ahead and ring that bell. And thank you, Rob, for doing this with me.
It's okay, love.
And I guess we'll just say goodnight.
Yeah, it's been a long one, this one.
Yeah, it has. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.